easy.
Let me back up just for a second and let everybody know what we're talking about. I'm in the studio with Mesut Ozgen and Fred Kaufman, who are, Mesut is putting on the 5th Annual International Guitar Festival at Florida International University. This is the one on Tamiami Trail. Where was the 10910 Southwest 17th Street.
Modesto Madik campus, main campus.
Main campus at the Herbert and Nicole Wertheimer Performing Arts Center on campus there.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
And it's all the 17th through the 23rd. Every night you'll have a concert. And we're talking now about the original piece that Fred had composed.
Yes.
So
this will be the premiere performance of it.
How long did it take you to compose this piece?
It's a 3-movement piece. I ended up doing the 3rd movement first because I wanted to get those asymmetrical rhythms we were talking about in there. And that came very fast. I think I wrote the 3rd movement in 2 or 3 weeks. It came very fast.
Do you sit in front of a piano?
No. I sit at a desk like this and write.
Uh-huh.
And
the music's in your head.
Yeah, it's in my head, and I take mental dictation. The 2nd movement is more like an interlude, and that took me less than a week to write. The 1st movement, however, took me months to write. And my advice to all young composers, never do a 3rd movement first.
I mean, in your entire career, this is the first time you did the 3rd movement first?
150 pieces, I never wrote the last movement first, But it turned out well because for the first time in a long time, it was through writing. In other words, I wasn't taking mental dictation. I had to work through the piece. And I'm proud of the 1st movement. It's an unusual movement and goes through many different feelings. And he's mastered it. It's just incredible.
And when will this piece be debuted?
That's the opening concert.
Oh, it's the opening concert.
17th. That's on the list. We have Kaufman Concerto Premiere, the name of the title. 17th, Monday evening.
I see, and it's called the Commerce.
Actually, we will have a FIU Festival Orchestra joined. Actually, FIU Festival Orchestra includes FIU faculty and student players. Plus, we have a wonderful local Venezuelan musicians group, Cameristica.
Yeah.
Some of them will be joining us in the wonderful
Mesut, did you curse Fred when you saw that 1st movement at all? Or
I mean, the last movement is difficult. I mean, he's like a Rodrigo approach, famous Spanish composer. He doesn't care, just play it, whatever.
But you
very difficult.
That's what's amazing.
But it makes it so special because I don't, require like restricting himself to like a non-cliche guitaristic patterns. He can be free. It will give the fresh, actually, approach. That's one of the best things from a non-guitarist composer.
And Fred will be the only one know if you hit it wrong note or something.
He won't. I'm not worried about that. So.
Then we came to 1st movement. I hoped it was going to be easier. It turned out to be even more difficult.
But the 2nd movement's easy.
The 2nd movement is more comfortable, even though there are some very interesting sections. Wonderful sections, actually. It's very difficult to do it on the solo guitar because it's a very integrated orchestra and guitar.
Well, Fred, together. You knew it was difficult, didn't you?
My language is not an easy language. I mean, Kamal Gekik will be one of the first people to tell you that the piano concerto is ferociously difficult. And yet, it's gotten 6 performances all around the world, with 2 more coming up in Tokyo, etc. So, it is my language, but so far, I'm unfortunate. People seem to respond well to it, and my music has been nominated for Grammys, and so it's good. It's good. I didn't actually make it difficult because he's a wonderful player. I did put a big cadenza in there for him, and I said, "Now play with it." And he's amazing.
Mesut, how many did you want to do that piece now, or how many pieces did you want to do now? Did you want to?
I mean, again, this piece, not possible to perform the whole thing, just little parts, because it's really integrated with the dialogue with the orchestra.
Okay.
That's why. But just to give an idea about for example, there's a beautiful like a timpani percussion beginning with the attacca beginning of the 3rd movement. pop 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 pom tom 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 trrr, like a kind of, and then the strings coming, and then the woodwinds, and then the bassoon, clarinet, all they're coming. Then the guitar has certain. Something like a kind of really like when you hear together with the orchestral connection, it makes more sense. Let me see what I'll do. Like there are some lyrical section.
You ought to play a little bit of the cadenza for him.
Then it goes like this. Let me see. Then it kind of like. Then continues.
I'll have you play a little bit of an extended piece, but before
Yeah.
I have you do that, is there anything you want to ask Fred? Is there anything you're curious about his career or how he wrote the composition?
I mean, in terms of the whole this specific piece process, I'm closely following. That's why I know already he's already talking about this. How in a different way he's been working on this than all other works. That's why it's a really incredible honor for me to actually be part of also this collaboration. And he's also really open-minded with the including guitaristic ideas.
Is that not common with composers?
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes occasionally I had in the past. They're a little bit too like strict about, they don't want to change anything. Then it doesn't make it breathe on the instrument, and especially if they don't know the instrument. It's a kind of like too like close-minded approach. Doesn't help much. It doesn't breathe and then become successful.
It's funny because he came to my house and he played it for me and I was wowed. And he said, "But Fred, you wrote this for a 12-string guitar over here. I can't do it on a 6-string. So he said, "Could we make this change?" And of course, why not?
Why? Was it your jazz background that lets you be so flexible?
Oh, perhaps. I've written for so many genres, ballets and symphony orchestras, jazz, and you name it. I've done commercials for the air. I mean, I've written a lot of things. And so I think one of the things I love about composition, why did I want to stop being a drum player? Because I got tired of playing long notes and practicing scales, etc., etc. Now I'm in a world that is so big and so wonderful, and people like Mesut saying, "Would you write for me?" And it's a joy. It's really a joy, and so I never get tired. I just keep going. I'm 83 years old, and I can see I've got at least 20 more pieces in me, so I'm excited.
That's right. I thought you were retired, Fred. You're still.
No, I retired from the academia, which I loved. But now my wife keeps me on my toes, and so I'm doing a residency at Ithaca College. I went there in an endowed chair, and next week the week after he plays, they're going to do the 135th performance of my Kaddish cello concerto, and so it's so much fun.
That's great. You had an incredible music career. I mean, you
I
still
feel
have.
blessed.
It's
I just feel blessed.
Yeah.
I really do. When you meet people like this,
Yeah.
and they're so complimentary to you, it's so nice.
I'm in the studio with Fred Kaufman and Mesut Ozgen, and Fred, you'll be at the premiere next Monday as well.
I wouldn't miss it. Yeah.
All right, it's not tomorrow, but on the 17th to the 23rd, the 5th Annual International Guitar Festival.
President's Day.
At Florida International University, and it's MIGF, Miami International Guitar Festival, at fiu.edu for more information. And just one last question before I have you play a piece, Mesut. When I say folk music, how much is that involved in what you're doing? Does folk music enter in what either of you do?
I mean, in my own compositions, originally, first time I started actually using some Turkish folk music, folk tunes, and then making variations on it two on the classical guitar, for one guitar, two guitars, and then I made the chamber music, including the string instruments, and some of them actually I started including also original Turkish instruments, which has a very special type of playing style. You know, even if the same kind of like Kemençe is one of them, with the got strings, bowed instrument, but how you play includes lots of microtones. Even if you write in the Western style notation, how you go from one to another note, same like in jazz music, or you know, how you go from one note to another one makes the special dialect and accent. You can call accent. That kind of additions in my music made sense. And I actually in my recording, I think you have that CD, Troubadour CD. I have recording together with Turkish musicians, kemençe, cello, and guitar. Then I included a lot of those kind of original folk tunes in my music. Same like I played right now. We will be performing with Federico Bonacossa. But also there are some other ones I just got inspired from that. Even though it's not original tunes, similar ideas, rhythms, and then ornamentation, those kind of things we used. And you will be hearing some of them in my concert, in my composition, plus some of the other Turkish musicians. But in addition to this, for example, we have a guitar orchestra concert last day also at 4 p.m. on Sunday, FIU Miami Guitar Orchestra. We included lots of like from Colombia, Venezuela, based on folk music, and we arranged it as an ensemble. In the ensemble, we have voice, cuatro, the original, the Latin American instrument, guitar family instrument, and cajon, like a percussion instrument.
Sure, folk instruments.
All those included, even though we call it like with the classical guitars we play, but it's a folk style, all those things. As I said, I had concerts with gypsy musicians also, the gypsy violinist and Django style. Even I did actually one Bach concerto that Django and Stepan Grappelli actually did. One of
no kidding.
Double violin concerto. There's a beautiful recording. And we played the same thing in Django style actually, with violin and two violins and guitar.
It can't be too blatant. I mean, if you're going to bring folk music and classical together, it doesn't.
Well, look how many of the masters have been influenced by folk music. I mean, Copland. Almost all of Copland stuff is derived from folk songs.
Yeah, what's the name of his
Appalachian Spring. He's so much of it.
Yeah.
And then look at some of the European Bartók, and all these people were influenced by folk music.
Even Bach.
All of them. I mean, so. What you're doing here, Micael, is important. You just continue doing it.
Thank you. Fred Kaufman is in the studio with Mesut Ozgen, and the 5th Annual International Guitar Festival starts February 17th and goes to the 23rd. Concerts every night at the Wertheim on the campus of Florida International University. More information at migf.fiu.edu. All right, Mesut, let's hear something. What do you want to show us?
I can play a short piece that I actually composed many years ago when I was in California for an Argentinian friend, and it was her birthday. Then I did some just tango style, but it's more like Turkish sounding tango style. And in the middle, I put the happy birthday melody in the middle.
It's amazing.
It's kind of disguised, but let me see how I haven't played this one for a long time. Let me see.
There's Mesut Ozgen.
And this is the Tango Cruise. It's recorded in my Troubadour CD.
Mesut Ozgen. That was incredible. That was beautiful, Mesut.
Thank you
I
very
love
much.
that.
Thank you.
And you'll be performing all next week, or you'll be running around as director of the
Yeah, I'll
festival?
be performing in the first day in the opening concert 17th,
Okay.
and then running almost non-stop until Sunday. I'll be conducting on Sunday, last day, the guitar orchestra.
He's it, and he's done every aspect of this festival.